What's up, everyone? Tera Roberts here with Fantasy Alarm, and we are talking free agency deep cuts for week 3. Let's start off at quarterback, and this week my favorite low-rostered option is Jared Goff. I'm very in on this game between the Lions and Vikings. It has the highest point total of the entire week with 53. Jared Goff is certainly lacking in some areas, but where he does not lack is in the talent that surrounds him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson, and more. Detroit scored 35 points in week 1 to keep pace with the Eagles, and in week 2, they scored 36 points to beat the Commanders. And in week 3, I think this trend continues. Moving on to running backs. Last week, it was Tyrion Davis-Price who stepped up as the RB2 behind Jeff Wilson, and with TDP's high ankle sprain likely shelving him for at least a month, it's looking like Jordan Mason could have the same opportunity. The 49ers did sign Marlon Mack and quickly moved him to the active roster, and it looks like Tevin Coleman is going the same direction. So there will be competition, but Marlon Mack failed to beat out Rex Burkhead before getting cut in Houston. Tevin Coleman was released from the Jets. So these aren't exactly the most inspiring options. It's worth a gamble to see if Mason can win out a backup role. Another option is Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon hasn't seen significant volume on the ground, but he is a pass-catching threat, and his snap count indicates that he is the preferred second option above rookie Isaiah Pacheco. Clyde Edwards-Helaire's work on the ground hasn't exactly been ample either. He's seen less than 10 carries per game. It's his receiving work that carries him through. In the event that CEH gets hurt, the pass-catching benefit that he sees would go to McKinnon, making McKinnon the back to roster over Pacheco. McKinnon is a fine low-roster stash in deep leagues. Moving on to wide receiver, I'm going to run through these quickly because there's a ton of low-end options this week. We talked about Greg Dortch last week as a good deep waiver ad, and if you added him, it paid off. Dortch caught all 4 of his targets for 55 yards and a touchdown. Dortch is proving to be a great option as long as Rondale Moore is out. We have no indication that Moore will be ready to return to action this week, so Dortch is back on the table. And with Dak Prescott out, many worried that the Dallas pass catchers would be significantly hurt with Cooper Rush at the helm. But it really wasn't that bad. CeeDee Lamb caught 7 of 11 targets for 75 yards. But it was Noah Brown who led the way in fantasy points, catching all 5 of his targets for 91 yards and a touchdown. Noah Brown has typically been the 4th option at best in the past for Dallas, but that could actually work in his favor here. He has a fantastic connection with Cooper Rush, and I think his production is real moving forward. Another option is Sterling Shepard. The knock on Sterling Shepard is that he's failed to stay healthy the majority of his career, and while that may be true, when Sterling Shepard is healthy, he tends to be a target hog in this Giants offense. Shepard caught 6 of his 10 targets in week 2, and with Kenny Golladay failing miserably and Kadarius Toney on limited snap counts and constantly injured, Shepard can continue to be a solid waiver ad in PPR leagues. Mike Evans is suspended, and if Julio Jones and Chris Godwin are out again, Breshad Perriman will have an increased role in Tampa Bay. Perriman caught 3 of 5 targets for 45 yards and a touchdown in week 2. This is not a long-term ad, but if you need someone to help get you by this week, this can do it. Unlike Perriman, I actually think that Ashton Dulin could have long-term value. And it's been a while since we've seen a clear and consistent wide receiver 2 in Indianapolis. In week 1, Dulin had 6 targets behind Michael Pittman, of course, and with Michael Pittman out, Dulin led the team, catching 5 of his 7 targets for 79 yards. I think he could have a nice bench option even when Pittman returns. And at tight end, Tyler Conklin has been quietly having a good season. He's played above 90% snap counts in each game. He's had a total of 10 receptions on 16 targets and 1 touchdown. Considering how much of a wasteland the tight end position is, having an option that has a guaranteed field presence and solid targets could be a luxury moving forward. And that wraps things up for this week's free agency deep cuts. Remember to like this video and subscribe to Fantasy Alarm, and come back next week for more deep waiver wire ads.